What is going on? It's your boy JDM, Jason Dowdy Music. Welcome to this edition of Producing for Artists. I'm just going to turn the chat overlay on real quick in case anybody wants to chat in. Um, so, as always, I'm just going to go over at the very beginning of every episode that we have. I guess episode is a good word for it, but we do a live stream every Saturday at noon. And the whole purpose of that is to help, right? To answer questions for any musician out there that is trying to look for a way to monetize your music. Now, the reason that I put this group together, so the whole purpose of this whole thing is for all the people that are kind of banging their head against the wall, right? Where you make music, um, you've always wanted to, make the right connections or get your stuff, your music in the right places. And you're just having trouble figuring out how to get started, how to get the snowball rolling, right? Just to get that first sync placement, that first placement with an artist, sell your first beat in a beat store, like any of that type of stuff, and then where to take it from there. So we go over the mindsets, the marketing, and everything. You build all of the music creation tools that you need to figure out ways to monetize your music. And that's what we do here. All right, cool. So that being said, let's hop right over to a couple things. So let me go to the Facebook group. And if you know anybody that could benefit from this group, feel free to invite them. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick. All right. And it should be this tab right here. Okay. All right. Let me see what that looks like. Okay, cool. All right. So When you go to producing for artists, and it's just Facebook/group/producing for artists, and there's a little FL at the end, stands for Fruity Loops or, FL Studio. So producing for artists FL. You go to the group, and if you click right here, and this is where, we would host the live streams and little nuggets and things like that. And, you can use this group to network, or if you have any ideas on how you're monetizing your music, we would love to hear about it. We're all up for some new ideas, right? But if you go here and you go especially to the file section here, you're going to see a few things. Uh, you're going to see producer links, which is, all of the paid and free resources that I use with my music production, and recording and things like that that I found useful. So I just kind of put them all together into one page. And if you click on anything, it will take you to the post, and then you can download it here. So I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So here we go. So, if you're starting with your very first basic home studio, it gives you kind of the computer minimums that you need. This might go up. You might need at least 16 gigs of RAM. But anyway, probably an Intel i7 at least nowadays. That's just going to keep going up. I did make this a couple years ago, so but some audio faces, microphones, MIDI controllers, some plugins, the free ones, effects that I use all the time, the free ones that I use all the time, some sample packs and beat kits that are, either very affordable or free. Making your own VST, all of that kind of stuff. All of that's here. Also, let me go back to the group. If you go to the file section, you're going to see how to create a story. So people don't really buy music anymore. They buy you, right? They want to get to know you better. They want to know you as a person. They want to know what kind of value you're going to add to their life. And getting your story down is a great way to start that. If people understand where you're from, what you've been through, what you've accomplished, some life-changing moments, those types of things, this story template can help with your social media and stuff like that. Creating a persona for your ideal fan or your ideal customer, depending on how you plan on monetizing your music. This is a great way just to know who you're talking to. So anything that you create for social media, email communication, any of that type of stuff, you need to have a clear idea of who you're speaking with, right? How do they talk? Where do they shop? What do they buy? What type of values do they have? All of those types of things. You want to kind of cater your messaging. They're probably your people, so you're probably doing that anyway. But if you have a clear idea of who you're talking to, that'll just help you that much better find those people. And then there's also the producing for artists, music libraries, and supervisors tracker. But actually, I think I'm going to get rid of this because here, let me see the original post. Because that's included with the whole course. So I'm going to delete this post. There we go. And we're going to go back to the file section. Here we go. So get your first sync placements guide. This actually is a free course on how to get your first sync placements. If you've ever wanted your music in TV, film, podcasts, digital, any digital streaming, anything like that. This will help you get your music in those spots. So when you click on here, it'll take you to this post and included in the course. So when you go here, you can just click this download link. Here, let me share this tab. You can just click this download link here. And these are all the videos here. And then here are the resources, which includes that spreadsheet of all the different music libraries you could reach out to and all of that stuff. All right, cool. That's just a few of the free resources that are available to you in this group. Now let me hop over to producing for artists. Hold on, let me look real quick to see if anybody's chatted in. Let me check Instagram. Nobody. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so let me hop on over to producing for artists real quick because there's a couple of things you can get there as well. Let me share my screen again or share the different tab. Here we go. All right. So if you go to producingforartists.com, so that's what the number 4, producingforartists.com, it'll take you to this page and you can grab a free training. So especially if you've ever thought of switching DAWs, or maybe you're just first getting into music production and you want kind of an intro to FL Studio, you can grab this free training and it'll take you through a process where you can have your first professional sounding track in less than 2 hours just using the basic version of FL Studio and then free stuff you can find on the internet. So if that's something that interests you, you can grab your free training there. Here's a few more courses. If you want to take a deeper dive to learn how to produce, you could take the Producing for Artists actual course. That one has over 8 hours of content, goes over everything from conceptualizing what type of music you want to make, all the way to the final mix and the final, export and all of that. And I also have another training called Swarm, songwriting, recording, and mixing. So if you're more of an artist, you don't necessarily want to learn all that much about music production, but you at least want to have familiarity in the DAW where you can get your music ideas down, your melody ideas. You can record decent vocals so a producer can take it the rest of the way, that type of stuff. Or you want to record to a beat that you got from a producer and you want to learn how to mix it professionally. All of that kind of stuff is in this Swarm training. So I have that available as well. Services, mentorship. So if you want to learn more about music production, producing for artists, like FL Studio, any of that type of stuff, I do offer a mentorship. And I'm also, if you needed help getting your name out there, finding your people, getting better results from your social media, building a sales funnel, figuring out how to write copy to get customer, any of that type of stuff where you want to make music and you want to monetize it, getting sync placements, things like that. I offer one-on-one mentorship there as well. There's an apply button. So I want to get to know more about you before we start working together to make sure I'm the right person that can help you the most. And then there's a few other services here. I don't want to get into everything. But finally, there is I'm not sharing the right tab. Here we go. There's an affiliate program. So I just clicked on the affiliate button. So if you know somebody, you're like, hey, I know a lot of artists that want to learn FL Studio. You can come to this page, sign up for the affiliate program. And if they end up buying, Swarm or Producing for Artists, you would get half the money. Cool. All right. So that's the spiel. I always like to go through all of that at the very beginning, get that out of the way. But I just want everybody to know, especially since we're still a small group and we're still growing, I'm going to do this at the beginning of every Producing for Artists sessions just to make sure everybody knows the purpose of the group, what we have to offer, what you can get for free, all of that kind of stuff. All right, cool. So let me stop sharing real quick. All right, there we go. Stop sharing. Okay, then let me make this big. There we go. All right. Cool. So what's on the agenda for today? So we always talk about the 4 M's. So there is mindset. Mindset is probably the most important M out of all of them. And I always like to give a little bit of advice to help keep you going, to help motivate you. Then there is marketing. So getting your name out there, networking, making the right connections, building a fan base, any of that type of stuff. We go over ways to do that. Music creation skills. So I do have I'll review somebody's music. So if you look at the bottom of the screen here, you see Jason at producingforartists.com. If you send your music into that email address, I review at least one a week. So send that in. The whole purpose of the review is not to judge your music. It's more to take away the good things that you're doing with your music so the group can benefit from that. And then if we do have any ideas or suggestions to make it better or fit something better, maybe it's a formatting thing where, this would be a perfect, sync placement if you did X, Y, and Z. We're going to offer you that feedback as well. All right. And then finally, the last M is monetization. So we're going to talk about different ways to monetize your music. So on the agenda today, we have mindset. We're going to talk about just showing up and every almost person. I didn't go over every almost person last week, so I'm going to cover that. Marketing, I'm just going to go over the basics of advertising on Meta, like Facebook, Instagram. Just the basics of their tool, their platform that they use, and what ideas on strategies. I'm not going to get too deep into let's put an ad together. I am putting a course together, that'll be a couple hours of content, going over best practices, how to set it up, all that kind of stuff. But I just want to touch on just so you're not intimidated by advertising on Meta, exactly what it looks like and what I do with it. Monetization, I'm going to talk about operating at a loss in the beginning of your journey. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Obviously, if you can operate at at a profit, that's obviously better. But that's tough to do for any business that's starting out. You do have to have some sort of upfront investment. So we're going to talk about that. And then finally, music creation. I'm going to talk about creating moments in your music, and then see if anybody sent one in for a music review. All right, cool. So let's hop right into it. First, let's talk about mindset. And I've given this tip before, but it's so important. I'm going to give it again. Um, Perseverance, showing up every day, building habits, 100% trumps talent 100% of the time. You're going to see, I mean, people that are showing up every day. Just think about your job, right? Like the people that show up every day, they're the ones that are going to get the opportunities. They're the ones that might get promotions. They're the ones who keep their job, right? It's the same with, this is a job. Like if you want to do something with your music, you have to think of it as an actual extra job that you have, right? Showing up every day. So some people will only make music when they are inspired. And if they don't feel that inspiration, they don't even try. But you gotta schedule your inspiration. I mean, sometimes you're gonna feel more inspired than others, but once you sit down and you start creating, the inspiration follows. In general, some people think that you have to get in the right mindset, then you do things, but it's 100% better to do things first, and that will get you in the right mindset. Um, Doing things when you don't feel like it is the secret to making it further than your competition, right? And everything's a competition in this world. There are a lot of people making music. There are a lot of people making music better than your music, right? Um, but those people may not be showing up every day. They may not be putting in the work. They may not be putting in the grind and doing it on a daily basis. The people that are doing that are going to get a lot further every time. Cool. The other mindset thing that I wanted to talk about today is the almost person. So when I created this group and I created a persona, who am I looking for? I want to tell you exactly who I'm looking for and who I want to help. And I don't want to help these people because I want their money. I don't want to help these people because I'm trying to get something out of them, right? I want to help because the person is me. I'm in the same boat, and I know there's a lot more people out there that are exactly like I am. So if you created music, like maybe you're a little bit older now, right? And you created a lot of music when you were younger, you had big dreams, and you almost made it. Right, maybe you performed on a stage with a major act. Maybe you, were just a producer, but you got a major placement, and then everything just fell off after that. Or, maybe you were a star in a talent show and, just never did anything with it and always wondered what if, right? Those are the people I'm looking for. Those are the people that I wanna help, and it starts with mindset, and then we'll teach you all of the tools and things like that. And I'm going to do it for free. I mean, eventually I'm going to be selling courses and stuff like that. Like I'm already selling some music production courses. Um because I can't operate at a loss forever, but more than making money, what I want to do is help people that are like me that are looking for ways to monetize their music. And if you do it right, it will just snowball, and hundreds will turn to thousands, and thousands will turn to hundreds of thousands, and the next thing you know, you don't need a job anymore, right? And you're doing music full time like you've always wanted to do. So that's my goal. It's my goal for me, and it's my goal for you. All right, so that is the mindset session. Now let's talk about meta ads and basics. So before I hop into the tool, um, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice on meta advertising in general, or just advertising for Google, any digital platform. You definitely Want to make sure that you're trying different messages at once. Meaning, and we'll get more into sales later, but when you start building sales copy, and you can use AI to help with that a lot, and I'll show you how to do that in a future session. You want to see what's working, right? You don't want to just post one ad and that's it, set it and forget it, right? Because you're just throwing money down the drain. Or you could be, I mean, it might be a great ad and it might work, but chances are if you try, you know, 5 or 6 different approaches, trying static images, trying videos, reels, trying maybe a 15-second reel, maybe you try one that's a little longer content, all of that. You want to try all of that under the same campaign and see which one performs better. And then once you start figuring out what performs better, start making more that are like that, and then test those against each other. And then you can really like optimize, fine tune it, fine tune your message, fine tune your advertising, and really get those, those advertisements humming, getting the most clicks or leads or whatever you're looking for. All right, so let's hop into the platform real quick. Let me share my screen. All right. So if you just type into your browser bar business.facebook.com, let me see what this looks like. Okay, cool. Actually, I'm going to take away the chat overlay. Here we go. And I'm going to share this way. There we go. Going to share my entire screen. Make it a little bit easier here. So this is what it looks like when you just type in business.facebook.com. All right, let me hop back over. Here we go. All right, and there's a couple tools that I'm gonna teach you about real quick. So go to all tools. So if you go on the left panel here, all tools, there's a lot of them, and this can be overwhelming and this can be intimidating at the beginning. Ads Manager is where you're going to spend most of your time, but I also want to let you know about Business Manager, which is, where is it? Hold on one second. Actually, let's hop right into Ads Manager. I think that'll probably be the best way to go. So here we go. All right. So here's Ads Manager. I'm not currently running anything. I'm totally revamping everything for the Producing for Artists kind of relaunch. And I'm going with another advertising method, which using BandLab, which is something else I could go over in a future session. But right now, this is what Ads Manager looks like. So here's your account overview. You want to hop right into this campaigns area. All right, cool. And there are 3 different levels to your advertising. So there is your campaign. And whenever you create a new campaign, you need to decide what you want to optimize for. So, maybe you just want to get your name out there and it's just awareness. Or maybe you want people to want to get a lot of traffic to a website, right? Or traffic to something. Then you could choose traffic. Here, I'll create a new one just so I can show you. Here we go. There they are. There they all are. Awareness, traffic, engagement. You want a lot of clicks, likes, and shares, right? Leads, maybe you're selling a product, you want somebody to fill out a form, give you their email address or something like that. App promotion, so maybe you have your own app and you want people to download the app. And then sales is, obviously, you want them to buy something from you right there on the platform. So these are the different objectives. I would say if you're trying to get your name out there and you're just starting with your very first ad, the very first thing I would do is use awareness with video views. If you're sending out a video, so let's say you're an artist and you've created a lyric video, or you doing something fun with one of your songs playing or whatever it is, and you just want to get your name out there and you want to get as many people to see it as possible, I would start with an awareness campaign. There's something called a marketing funnel, where at the very top of the funnel is awareness. So you're just trying to reach out to as many people as possible. And then as your audience starts to narrow down, you get into the consideration phase, which is more like traffic or engagement and things like that. And then as you get to the bottom of the funnel, people that are really interested, you could take all of the people in that new audience that you've created. Oh, these are the people that were actually clicking and looking at my stuff or watching video views for this amount of seconds, right? You could take all of that and you could build a custom audience and go for a more what we call high intent campaign, which is like leads and sales and things like that. So you can retarget those. So you always have your awareness going to reach out to as many new people as you can. In consideration phase, you build that audience for people that are on the, they know who you are and they're considering whatever you're offering. It could be listen to my music, it could be join my group, whatever it is, right? And then finally, if you're going for sales, there's that higher intent at the bottom of the funnel where you could retarget those people and make offers. And that way you're only advertising to the people that are, it costs more per person, per lead, and per sale, per conversion. So you're only advertising to the people that have shown interest. So it's just more efficient way to spend your money. All right. Now there's 3 levels. There's the campaign level. So campaign, what is your objective? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it get as many people to see it as possible? Then it would be awareness, for example. Then we get down to ad sets. This is where you can split up your budget if you wanted to, or you could use a campaign level budget and just have it pick the highest performing ads and spend more money towards those because they're performing better. But this would be, maybe different geographic regions or, things like that. And then finally, we get down to the ads level. This is where you actually have your creatives and all of that. All right. So that's a very, very high level of meta advertising. Like I said, I'm going to put a course together on how to build advertising for your, whatever you're trying to do. I'm going to show you how we're doing it for producing for artists. And I think it's going to help you as a producer, music creator, artist, whatever you are, reach your goals. Cool. All right. So let me stop sharing this. I think this is going to be a short one. I don't see anybody in the chat. So this might be a very short session. Let me make sure I went live on Facebook real quick. Did I go live? No, it's going. All right, cool. All right, let me check Instagram. All right, no, we're good. We're good. Okay, cool. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is monetization operating at a loss. All right. So last week I talked a lot about risk. Like you have to take a risk to do anything in this world. Now, if you are an artist and you're trying to make it, you have to spend some money. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, there sort of is. If you have a bunch of time, like available time to individually reach out to DM people, there are some other organic strategies you could use. Um, you could make key connections using your time to get on, maybe a live show and you could, build your fan base that way. I mean, there are ways around not spending any money, but if you have that much time, chances are somebody's paying for you, right? You're living at somebody else's house or something. Or maybe you got an inheritance. I don't know. Maybe you're just good. And if that's the case, great, good for you. But for, most of us, it's either time or money. And if you're going to invest some money, you're going to have to operate at a loss for a little while. The only advice I have to give is, don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to jump in and just, you know, educate yourself as much as you can. And that's why I'm creating these courses to see, I'm going to do the jumping, find out what works, find out what doesn't, so that when you take a course on, meta advertising, for example, or getting your name out there, finding your tribe, any of that type of stuff. Um, we've done all, I personally have done all, taken all the risk, um, figured out the best way to do it, and then I will teach you, right? But you're going to have to take some kind of risk, and you have to have the bravery to step up and spend some money, which can be tough. I mean, especially with the way the economy is and inflation and all of that. But if in your heart you really, really want this, and now, like I said, this when I started at the beginning of this session, I talked about showing up every day, putting in the work. The only way you're going to do that is if you really, really, really want to make this work. That's what's going to set you apart from people that are half doing it. Um, so you're going to operate at a loss. What I would suggest is set a budget, set an exact budget, and think of it as an investment in your future, and try to recoup all of that budget by the end. So, it could be $2,000, could be $5,000, could be 10,000. I don't know what it's going to be for you, right? Depends on how much you're trying to do right off the bat. Obviously, the more you spend upfront, the more it's going to escalate your goals and get you where you want to go faster. But it's a bigger risk, and if you start doing methods that do not work, that's going to be money down the drain. So, what I would suggest is start with set a budget. So, have a big budget to start with. Start off with a very small amount. Test it. Does this work? Is this getting me any results? Is this getting me the results that I want? That gives you the freedom to say, oh, you know what? I don't think this is working. I don't think that is working. I mean, you got to give it time. You got to give it at least 30, 60 days, depending on what you're trying to do, but give it some time. See if it works. If it doesn't, you haven't spent that much. You haven't risked that much upfront, and you still have more of your budget left, right? But if you get to the end of that big budget and none of it has worked, you really, and as things aren't working, as you're starting to spend that budget, you got to start asking yourself these questions. Is my music any good? Right? If you're trying to, let's say, I don't know, get a placement with an artist, get feedback on your music, ask people. You can go to places like Heatwave Music Group or Who Wants That Smoke if you're, a hip hop producer. Make pop music if you're a pop artist. Get feedback. Ask people, is this any good? So look at that first, and you have your own judgment, and if things sound good or not. But it's always good to get that outside perspective. Don't let it hurt your ego. You can't have an ego when you ask for feedback. Um, you have to get that feedback. Pretend you're a robot, right? Take your feelings out of it. Take the feedback. Look at it analytically. Um, is what they're saying uh, going to help my music? And if so, how will it help? What can I do to change? Um, I would also say pay attention to who you're getting the feedback from. If it's unsolicited feedback from some troll on the internet, let that roll off your back. Look at the music. I mean, look at the music they create. Is it good? Right? Are they somebody that you want to be like? Is it somebody you respect? All of that. So, obviously for those types of people, I would take their feedback a lot more seriously than other types of people. I know that's common sense, but it's good to say out loud every once in a while. All right. So risk little in the beginning, see what works. And then once you find something that works, like, oh, you know what? This is actually making me money. Double down on that. And then that's where, you can focus the rest of your investment, or, a good chunk of your investment at least, to see if you can get that much return continued. Cause then that will just, if you're spending, like, let's say you're using Meta ads, and for every dollar you spend, you're getting $1.50 in sales. Throw as much money in as you can, right? Because it's working. Why not? Why not? You're going to get that money back. It's going to feed back into your ads budget. And then you can just, keep collecting that profit off the top. So that is the monetization talk for today. How to operate at a loss. Make sure you set a final limit, because it could be a rabbit hole. You can end up spending all your money, and don't lose your home. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure you pay your rent if you're renting, whatever. Just set that limit. And then if something's not working, risk low at first. And if it's not working, change, pivot, get feedback, figure all that out. All right. And then finally, I think this is going to be a short session because I don't see anybody in the chat. So finally, the last thing I want to talk about is music creation. So I'm going to check my email real quick just to see if I got any music submissions. I am not seeing any. So we're just going to hop right into kind of the music creation tip for this time. So I would say the most important part that some people overlook with their music, especially a beginning producer or artist, is that they'll focus so much on their 8 or 16 bars and making those as good as possible that they'll forget to create moments in their music. So when you create an incredible 16 bars of music, that is where you're starting. I would say you're about 33% there, right? Because you still have to format, you got to do transitions, and I would say 33% is creating music or creating the moments in your music. 33% is that that dope ass 16 bars, and then the other 33% is creating another 8 to 16 bars of incredible music. Um, Meaning, and when I say incredible, that doesn't mean you necessarily need a change up or you need a tempo change or anything like that. It just needs to be different and have a different emotion to it of some kind. So, start off with that 16 incredible bars and ask yourself, is this high energy? Is this low energy? Is this mellow? Like, what is it? Then I would create a B section that is a different type of energy. Like if you've got everything but the kitchen sink going on in that beginning 18 bar or 16 bars, um, people need a break from that, right? So maybe you mellow out for a minute and you have a little bit of a breakdown section. And then the other part is create moments. So that's your transitions, that's your, stutters between sections. That is, if you're a singer, like that real emotional, maybe it's a little acapella moment. Or, I've heard where like these fully produced songs, where it's just really professionally mixed and all of that, will just break down all of a sudden, and it'll just be like a microphone with somebody and their guitar singing, and and it just kind of it's a cool moment to have in the song because it's a complete break from what was going on, and you can hear kind of that raw, true talent coming through, and then they break it back into that whole fully produced thing. So when you're creating music, don't think of it as creating a great 16 bars. Think of it as creating a composition with moments that draw out emotions from people. And if that's your goal, if you're thinking if you're putting yourself in the mind of your audience, that's just going to help you create better music. All right, awesome. So, I mean, that's it for today. Um, I want to thank anybody that's watching this now or on the replay. I appreciate it. A lot of good little nuggets in here. We're going to keep doing this every Saturday, 12 o'clock p.m. Like I said, I'm trying to reach those people that want to do something with their music, that have always thought about it, maybe have never done it. Um, we're going to have this, like clockwork. So if you want help with that, tune in every Saturday at noon Eastern time, and I'll be happy to do that. All right, cool. Well, thank you for your time, and until then, until I see you next time, master your craft.